Alright, let's dive straight into the heart of Apeloa Pharma's business, their active pharmaceutical ingredients and intermediates. This isn't just a side hustle, it's the bedrock, the engine room that has powered their growth for over 3 decades. They're not just playing in the game, they're a major player, sitting pretty at number 2 in China for exporting chemical APIs. We're talking about a serious portfolio here, covering everything from antibiotics like cephalosporins and penicillins to cardiovascular drugs, CNS agents, and even veterinary APIs. Names like amantadine, ephedrine, bupropion, and specialized stuff like the sartan nucleus or ketasamitin. These aren't just the products on a list. They represent significant market positions and technological prowess. Now, take a look at this table. It might seem like a dense list of chemical names, but it tells a story of depth and breadth. You see the heavy hitters like Cefaclor, Cefdinir, and Cefprozil under the cephalosporin umbrella, alongside other key antibiotics like levofloxacin. Then there's the amantadine, a crucial antiviral, and the ephedrine/pseudoephedrine derivatives, which are vital for respiratory treatments. Notice the specific mention of amoxicillin side chains, sartan biphenyl nuclease, and fluorinated nuclease. These aren't just the raw ingredients, they're highly specialized building blocks, often requiring complex synthesis, giving Apeloa a distinct edge in the value chain. And don't forget the veterinary side with fluorinated and ketasamitin. This isn't a narrow focus, it's a comprehensive strategy across multiple therapeutic areas. So, how does Apeloa keep this engine running smoothly? Their mantra is refine the raw material, which sounds simple, but it means constantly sharpening their core API and intermediate business. They're not resting on their laurels. Think about it. They're bringing in top talent, pushing R&D boundaries, optimizing production processes like a chef perfecting a recipe, and simultaneously building more capacity, truthful May or icon, especially high-end lines. What's really interesting is their integrated approach. They make the API, and then they use it in their own formulations. This creates a powerful synergy. When their formulations win tenders in national centralized procurement, guess who benefits directly? Yep, the upstream API business sees a surge in demand. The numbers back this up. Steady growth since 2016, and check out that sell-through rate, consistently over 98%. That's not just good. That's exceptional operational efficiency. And look at 2024, hitting record highs for production and sales for 15 APIs, plus landing over 50 new customers. That's momentum. Now, let's zoom in on the operational side using this chart. It tracks production volume, sales volume, and that crucial sales-through rate from 2016 to 2024. See how both production and sales roughly double over this period. That's solid expansion. But the real star here is the sell-through rate. It hovers consistently around 98%, peaking even higher in recent years. What does this mean practically? It means Apeloa is producing almost exactly what the market wants when it wants it. No massive inventory piling up, no significant backlogs. This kind of precision is a hallmark of excellent supply chain management and a strong market alignment. It's the operational discipline that underpins those high margins we saw earlier. It's not just about making stuff, it's about making the right stuff efficiently. Okay, let's pull back the lens and look at the bigger picture, the entire Chinese API industry. This chart shows domestic production volume. Notice the dip starting in mid-2023? That's a key trend, capacity clearing. Why? Price adjustments squeezed the less efficient players, leading to a rationalization of the industry. Think of it like a shakeout. But here's the flip side. After destocking heavily in 2022, the industry entered a restocking phase in 2024. Look at the inventory turnover days they improved, meaning companies sold off old stock faster. At the same time, companies started increasing their inventories again, and overall production turned positive year on year. This signals that the industry is moving from recovery to proactive restocking. For a company like Apeloa positioned strongly within this landscape, this shift towards restocking presents a significant opportunity for increased demand and potentially better pricing power. This chart visually reinforces the point about industry consolidation and recovery. The red bars show the total production volume, while the brown line shows the year-on-year growth rate. You can clearly see the drop in 2023 reflected in both lower volume and negative growth. Then, look at 2024. the first quarter data point shows a rebound in production compared to the previous year, and the growth rate turns positive. This isn't just noise, it's a structural shift in the industry dynamics. For established players like Pulo, with optimized operations and strong customer relationships, this industry-wide trend towards restocking and capacity optimization likely translates into stronger market share gains and more favorable operating conditions. Now, let's look at the inventory side of that industry cycle. This chart tracks total inventory value and inventory turnover days. See how the inventory level, left axis, fluctuated, peaking around 2020 and then dropping during the destocking phase. And look at the turnover days, right axis, they spiked during the destocking period, indicating slower sales relative to inventory levels. The key takeaway now is the recent trend. Inventory levels have started to rise again, and importantly, turnover days are improving. This means companies are selling through their inventory more quickly, suggesting a healthier demand environment. Combined with the production recovery we saw earlier, this paints a picture of the industry moving out of a difficult phase and into a more balanced, potentially more profitable restocking phase. Pulo, being well positioned, is likely benefiting from this trend. What about the cost side? Making APIs isn't cheap. It relies heavily on upstream inputs like oil and coal for energy, and agricultural products like corn and soybean meal for fermentation-based processes. Luckily for Pulo and the industry, the cost picture is looking a bit brighter. Look at crude oil prices, they came down significantly after spiking in 2022 and have found a more stable base. Similarly, corn prices, a key input for fermentation, have been trending downward since 2023. This is great news for margins. Combine this with Pulo's own efforts to optimize production processes, reduce waste, and expand their product range to capture efficiencies of scale, and you have a recipe for margin improvement. Lower input costs plus operational excellence equals better profitability. It's a classic case of external factors aligning with internal strengths. These charts illustrate the cost trends we just discussed. The top one shows the roller coaster of crude oil prices hitting a peak in 2022 and then moderating. The bottom one shows the corn spot price, which spiked in 2023 but has since come down from its highs. While these are just two inputs, they represent significant cost components for many API manufacturers. The downward trend in both, particularly corn post-2023, provides a tangible tailwind for companies like Pulo. It's not just about the final selling price, it's about managing the cost structure effectively. This combination of lower raw material and energy costs, coupled with their continuous process optimization, gives Pulo a solid foundation for maintaining and potentially improving those gross margins we saw earlier. To really appreciate Pulo's position, let's visualize the antibiotic supply chain. This diagram breaks it down nicely. You start with the upstream raw materials, things like corn, soybean meal, and energy sources. These feed into fermentation processes, which produce key intermediates like erythromycin sulfate or cephalosporin C. These intermediates are then further processed into the